God's been really speaking to me about something over these last probably 4 or 5 months. And Pastor Joe heard me share some of these things from El Rey Jesus, and they were really on my heart. And I thought, Lord, this is a very mature congregation, and I want to sound really smart. And sometimes the most precious and complex things are really very simple. And I don't know, I go to conferences sometimes, and I don't know about you, and I know everyone's got their ministry, God bless them, but when they get on the third of the, what was the last thing we did of the, the third day prophet, I never did get that. Third day the mashpuka, that's Jewish. The Shemitah. I was lost like 2 paragraphs in the Shemitah, and I thought, well, does that mean he's a Republican, or does that mean he's coming on the September the 1st? Or I was so confused. And we went through it. And I spent the Shemitah here. And I said, why aren't the people over here running around like crazy, repenting? In America, I mean, Jerusha was home then. And she goes, Mom, we're all outside. We're on the front porch. And we're waiting. And she's going to split the eastern sky. And I said, how do you know this, you know? And so I went to Paul and I said, oh, Paul, it's the Shemitah. And he goes, they just want to sell books, or I don't know what he said. But I forgot all about it being the Shemitah, and I think the Shemitah came and went, and some of you that don't know, pretty much doesn't matter now at this point. But it was a big thing that went over, and everybody knew when Jesus was coming. And I said, didn't we do that in 88? Yeah. And then again in 89? And I think, I'm not sure, but somebody said they did it in 54. I'm not sure. But people, you know, I don't know how much clearer the word can say it, you know, that we don't know. I know some have spiritualized that and said, but I'm just simple. It says this. And so what I'm sharing with you is not the second Shemitah coming, because I don't know enough about it. And Paul will teach that Sunday afternoon at 3. After the youth meeting. He told me that his subject was going to be this is too, I can't repeat.
The significance of the badger skin in the tabernacle of Moses.
That's really funny. What's wrong with you guys? The significance of the badger skin in the, okay, anyway. What's so funny is there is no animal called a badger. All right. I don't know, Paul. It's just too late. They tried to feed me mouse last night and crazy kind of food, like haggis. Haggis. Just the sound of it. I don't even have to know what's in it. That's the kind of stuff Ken Gott eats, I think, you know. Ken's going to be with us tomorrow, and no one will understand the word he has to say. But you don't have to. Just go, ha, hee, hee, ha, ha, ha. That's all you have to do with Ken. I know nothing of what he says. I just, I'm in the river, brother, you know. I love Ken. God used Ken to totally revolutionize my life. And I was in Bogota, Colombia, and something wonderful. You can't preach experience. You can only share experience. You try to preach experience, it's yours. And but I was in Colombia, and we were having a wonderful meeting there, and right in the middle, you know, God interrupted my wonderful message, you know, and the place in those countries, you know, there thousands of people go to those churches. They'll have, you know, 5 or 6 services a day of thousands and thousands of people up the rafters and everywhere they can fit. And the hunger, they walk, they ride, they take the bus, they take a bicycle, they, you know, take a donkey. They'll get there any way they can get there. And it really, you know, puts a lot of Westerners to shame, because we say, well, I can't go because, you know, I'm anticipating my son is going to be cranky later. You know, so we're going to stay home, and they miss a blessing. And we anticipate a problem where there is none. And then we miss out. How many things have we missed out on? And right in the beginning of this message, about halfway through, the Spirit of God came on me with such his love for these people, Because we see everybody in mass and we see them in a crowd, especially when you go, I think probably the largest I've ever ministered to, which is nothing for some of you that have ministered in Bangladesh, or I don't know where you all have been to. But, there were probably about 110, I know the 3 rings of Saturn, Joe's been ministered, had a healed, Martians healed for life or something up there. She'll go anywhere. She loves to get people healed. But there were probably about 110,000, jammed in. And that was probably the biggest crowd. That was a lot of people. It was a stadium. And so you preach kind of in mass. There's a lot of people. But in Bogota, even though there was just jammed with people, the love of God for the individual person came on me in such a way. And I've done this for a long time. I ministered for, growing up my dad's church, ministered with him and my mother, ministered all over the world, ministered in places, thousands of people, but never felt this love that I couldn't even preach. All I could do was weep. Weep with the love God has for humanity. Now, take that back to the beginning of time, and I want to say, God, really? Did you really know what you were getting into? Would you, he looked at, was it in Noah's day? And he regretted, he said he repented for, even creating us. It was a mess. He counted on us being a mess. He counted on us being a mess. We are all the time thinking we're surprising him with something. And not that we have, we take an opportunity to sin. Please know that I believe in that walk of holiness before God. But this love, and my Bible, I couldn't even lift it. All that I could do was just move in and out of the people. And I said, God, if you don't stop and laying this on me, I feel like I'm just going to spontaneously combust. I felt like I was going to burst. And that's not even a drop of a symbol of the love God has for us, that we can't even hear these people. Nobody knows who they are. Some of them sick, dying, little grandmother living out somewhere, scratching a living out of the ground. Who knows her? She doesn't have satellite TV. She can't touch her TV and get healed or send off for a piece of the Capernaum stone, and any of the things that people do even now. You probably saw the same program I did. But I text Paul at 3:30 because no one else is awake. At our time, 3:30. But my heart was just breaking for the people. And many times we want to make it about these great principles and ideals in the masses, when we forget, and we say it all the time as we were children, if it was just me, he would have come. But how many of us really believe that if it was just me? And we go, Cathy, that's nursery school teaching. We're way beyond that. Then what's wrong with us? That we can't show the love of God. Love never fails. I know who it was, the man at British Airways. He had some great religious philosophy. He was telling me his great religious philosophy is a nice man, a very nice man. And all I could do was just lean across the counter, just because of the love of God. And all I could say was, but you know what? My darling, love never fails. What it is, one of my heroes of the modern day is Bishop Dwayne Swilly. What is it about Dwayne that I just love about him? First of all, it's that laugh. I said, all you'd have to do is laugh. I don't need anything more. Let me call you and laugh and I'll be fine. And he just has that. Now, children in Central America are frightened of him. I'll just say that. Because he looks like this huge white giant. It's going to eat them or something. That's what the pastor from Chile told me. He says, our children are scared of him. But what is it? He just exudes what? Just this love. And people want to be around him because it's not fake. It is genuine. Where does that come from? Because I know people that can fake that they love you for about 5 minutes, and then they start looking past you to the person they actually really want to talk to. Have you ever been in a church service where the pastor just seems so interested? And yes, oh honey, I'm so sorry. I'll be praying for you. He's not going to pray for you. I'm going to pray. I'll be praying for you. Go pick up yourself a Capernaum stone and a prayer cloth on your way out. God love you, honey. Come back next week, we'll give you a cookie, And you know that it's like, I'm dying. Now, you can't give people every hour of your time, though there's nothing left. But that love of God, where is that forged? Where does that genuine love for God's people come from? Just sitting for hours? I don't have hours to sit in his presence. I have kids. And trust me, the older they get, they need more. When you're little, you can throw a Barbie at them. When they get bigger, it's like, can I use the car? No, Well, why not? You don't have a license? Let's start there. And they get drum sets, right next to your bedroom. And they just get older, and it's more. I don't have hours and hours to just spend. I know a lady that says, I spend 8 hours a day in his presence. And I went, you're crazy, Who has 8 hours a day? Your house must be a mess. I mean, now she does. I've seen her spend 8, 9 hours. Pastor's going to the laundromat with his clothes. I'm kidding. No, she doesn't. She's good. She sends Benji and Abby. She's a wonderful mother. I don't know how she does it all. She sends Roro. Sorry, Roro. The later it gets, I'm trying to make sure you guys are with me before we do this and then we do that with the word. Okay. But where does that come from? Now, I love to spend time. I spend time with the Lord. I have to set my clock sooner because I have a mandate. My pastors asked me, will I pray 2 hours just for him every day? Just pray for him. Just anything that the Lord shows me, will I just speak into his life? And that's one of the reasons I love him is because of that humility he does walk in, where he wants to hear the word of the Lord. That's a safe place. But where is it found? And this is a thing that I have found in our society. Just me, you may have your own secret, but this is what the Lord's been showing me, is he said, I have a people who are no longer willing to wait. They even have shortcuts to prayer. How to get a hold of God and be in his presence and get your miracle in 5 minutes. We've written whole volumes on how to do it, and yet, how long does it take? Apostle, it takes a lifetime, doesn't it? Just ask anyone who's, been saved. It takes a lifetime. And we have a society, if you've ever driven in Miami, it's not so much here in London, but in Miami, if you come to a light, it's red, and you're the first one, and all of a sudden, the light turns green, 3 cars back. You don't even have time to move. Is that right, my guy? This right. You can't even move your foot. I'm moving my foot, hello, to the accelerator. God forbid I have to shift. And they don't give you a chance. People's horns wear out in Miami. Because I thought, okay, what, are you going to be like, 1.5 seconds late? But they do it. They just can't help themselves. It's just wait. No one wants to wait. They want everything. I think Paul shared on the way over here, Pastor, that out of, 100,000 bites of food, 80% of them are loaded with sugar? What did you say?
Yeah, out of the 600,000 types of food. In America right now, the Food and Drug Administration issued a report that said there are 600,000 different types of food available to eat in America, and over 80% of them have added sugar.
Now, I don't want to offend anybody, but if I offend you, you know what we say. If I offend you, what do? Build a bridge and get over it. That's it. And if I don't offend you, I haven't done my job. And I don't want to offend, but it's easier to drive through McDonald's than it's to actually go to the market, buy a piece of fish and some food and go home and cook it. Right. Why? Because we don't want to wait. We don't want to find the parking space. We don't want. And then what do people do? They act crazy when they get in the drive-thru. Excuse me, but my hamburger-like substance does not have my cheese-like substance on it. And that's all it is. And yet we do that, and we know it's bad. I know it's bad. It's just this one time. I used to say, just for today, until I hit almost 300 pounds. And then I thought, just for today is turning into a whole lot of no tomorrows for me. And so had to turn around and go the other way, which is what you're supposed to do. But we say, until I cook something. Don't you ever say that? I say that, oh man, it's like this o'clock until I get to the store and I get home and I cook it and it's going to be late and you don't do that in England, or is it just an American problem? I can just order Pizza Hut and it's just one night. I know it takes 3 days to digest 3 pizza. That's true. It does take 3 days. But remember that next time you buy. We want it instant. We don't want to have to wait. But we want it to taste like we went to the grocery store and bought it and we prepared a nice meal. Let it taste that way. Let it look that way. Why? Because our society has moved, and I won't say we're lazy because we do a whole lot of nothing all the time and we're tired. I mean, I say it all the time. I'm just so tired. What'd you do? Well, I got up. Oh, and I had, we have the 1 cup Insta thing now, cup. So I don't get to make a whole pot. Every time I want another cup, I have to put another little thing in there, and make that, and then go to the refrigerator and actually get the milk. And then what'd you do after that? Well, then I had to sit down because I was, and we're tired. And we've slowly, and what does that have to do with the love of God? What does that have to do with the things of the Spirit of God? Because we like shortcuts. And with God, sweetheart, there is no shortcut. There is no book you can buy. There is nothing in the Christian bookstore that will give you, instead, it used to be 12 steps. Now it's do 8.5 steps in 12-step time. You can do it in half the time now. Don't go bother with the 12 steps. If you're an alcoholic, you can do it in half the time now. Get through it quicker. But we want a shortcut way. For what purpose and for what reason? That's why we see, you're going to get letters. That's why we see sin abounding. We do. That's why we see the book of Timothy coming alive in our generation. Okay, it's going to get better because I promise you have to come back tomorrow. Because usually I leave you happy. You're going to be so happy. Email. I gave Jerusha's assistant, I told him, I love you if he's at work right now. Gave him an envelope, and I said, I want you to, now, he was born in the Dominican, so we'll give him a little grace there. But I asked him, and what I mean is English wasn't his first language. He's watching. I love you, sweetheart. This is why you get the big bucks, babe. As soon as God prospers us, we're prosperous. But I gave him a letter. We still laugh about this. We laugh, don't we, Freddie? I'm not going to name him by name. Freddie Ramirez. I gave him a letter. Now, this was a long time ago. It had to be last year or something. And I gave him a letter, and I said, Freddie, here's a stamp. I need you to send this and send this. Now, the guy has a computer, he can do anything on the computer. But I gave him this letter, and about 3 days later, it's in my mailbox. And I looked at it. He had addressed it to me and put the sender in the return sender. He didn't know how to address the letter. And I said, son, he's a son of the Spirit. I said, son, do you know how to address a letter? And he says, well, yeah, Mama. And I said, did you look it up on the computer and find out how to do it? I said, look it up on the computer because kids, we don't know how to even address a letter. Why? Because bam, and it's halfway around the world. Why bother? I force my kids to send handwritten thank you letters to people that do things. I say, sit down. Mom, I can just message them on Facebook. No. Because there are some people like me, I don't know how it works. And I don't send emails because if Hillary's emails are important, you can imagine how important mine are. Why are you laughing? I have some really, I have nothing on there. Nothing that Joe doesn't put up. That's what I have up there, Jerusha. But you know, they don't know how. I say, sit down, address a letter, get a stamp. Well, I said, go out to the mailbox and that little thing that doesn't look like it's a flag. Put it up. Eventually, the postman will come get it. And there's nothing like receiving a hand, especially when you're writing prisoner letters. They really like that. I won't tell you how I know that. But they like getting mail. The generation that we're in doesn't know how to wait. I'm trying to intersperse some levity in with a very important, I'm telling you, it is ground level, make or break your ministry, your walk with God, your family, your marriage, your children, everything. If you can get this principle and get it working in your life. I found out, doctor, why they call it a waiting room. Because that's all you do. At the doctor's, you wait. You sit and wait. And there are people that don't wait very well. Our society does not wait well at all. And one of the greatest works of God in our life comes in the wait. It comes in the wait. Nothing can teach you. Both my brothers are military men. They're retired. And there's just something about being in the military and being told to do something or standing there for no absolute reason that you can understand that helps you in with your entire life. I said, why do you do it? He said, because the commanding officer said so. Wow. Did he tell you why? We don't need to know why. We don't have to know why. This is what I shared this, one of my favorite scriptures, and I know this is probably some of yours. We used to sing it years ago. They that wait upon the Lord shall renew their strength. They shall mount up. They don't flap up. Waiting is a posture, beloved. Waiting is an attitude and a posture that you have. Waiting doesn't mean that you're laying under your bed crying with potato chips or with a bag of brownies and a six-pack. That's not waiting. Some of you go, well, even the six-pack? No. It's not that's not waiting. Waiting is active and proactive. It's not sitting around going, I know you gave me a word last time you were here, prophet, but I just need a word to confirm the other word, to confirm the word that you gave me before that God does have a man for me. I just want another confirmation. You don't need another confirmation. They that wait while I am waiting, I'm working the nursery. I'm cleaning the church. I'm coming to prayer meeting. I'm being a part of the worship. So I am straightening chairs. I am parking cars. I'm not showing up late, sitting in the back, hoping the prophet has a word for me because I'm pitiful. Because God is not moved by pity. He pities you like a father pities. But he's not. Which paralytic did he ever heal or epileptic did he ever deliver because they were pitiful? And he went, oh, honey, you're so pitiful. All of the children of Israel would have been delivered, 400 years before that because they were a pitiful lot. But it's not pity. It's when the Father said, I believe you are the Son of God. I believe. And God said, you've got your miracle. It's in your mouth. Bam, that's it. It's faith, active faith that gets God to move. You can't strong arm God, pin his arm behind him and go, I'm going to hold my breath until you fulfill. You promise. I command you. Remember the command ye me teaching that we had with Bob Tilton or not? None of you old enough to remember that. Okay. None of you had the Bob Tilton satellite? I think he's still on. Anyway, I think I saw him one time at 3:30 in the morning. But, you can't strong-arm God. Bob Tilton's a great man of God, please. But there was a teaching that went around for a while that said, command ye him to do it, because there was a scripture that says, command ye me. But you just can't go around commanding God. He's going to go, oh, aren't you precious? Isn't she adorable? You don't go around commanding him. We say, but I'm holding you to your word. Wonderful. That's what we do. We stand fast. But the word's not for him. He didn't forget. God does not have Alzheimer's. All right? He remembers what he said. He remembers the whole word, front to back. He remembers your prophetic word. He remembers it. Who's the word for? It's for me. Father, I am actively standing in this word that you gave me. I have not forgotten what you said. As for me and my household, you said, Father, that all of my children would be taught of the Lord. I have good news to tell you. My son Gabriel just got rehired, or what do you call it? An internship with Goldman Sachs. And his heart's desire has come to London and work here. So if anybody wants to feed and house him for the rest of his life, you know. One day he will be wealthy. That is a hope and a prayer we have. You guys love, he loves you. He sends his love. He loves you. You took him in. And once you open the door and feed Gabriel, he's family. That's it. That boy adores you. I think he's his best friend. He always talks about his best friend is here in the house. So I don't know. Who is that? His best friend. Oh, Ron K's son. Oh, okay. But he loves this house and he loves this people, and he misses you. He will be back. So I just want to tell you. He may hang the sign up. No, he's a wonderful, he is an awesome young man. But this generation, you have to stand on the word that God's given you. Don't give up. It's only up when you say you're done and it's over. It's over. Waiting is not being idle. It is with its wings ready. You know, you never see an eagle. They wait. And I saw just the other day when this eagle, it just looked like a bird, what I know about wildlife, you know. And it kept me from eating a squirrel last night. But this eagle was like this. And then the owner it had a little mask or something that they put over its eyes. And then they took the little thing off, and when its wings, I could not believe the wingspan. It went from one end of this round sofa to the other and dwarfed the size of its body. It opened halfway and then all the way, and when it did this, from, many yards over, a newscaster's papers flew off of the desk. Just with one, how powerful it was. How powerful. Its strength, born in its ability to wait until the wind, the sound. It's time to move. It's time to go. It's time to rise up. It's time. God will wake you in the night and say, pray, get up, pray. It's you exercising that they that wait upon the Lord will mount up. Not flap up, not cry, not be pitiful. Mount up. They soar from one. I'm not telling you something you haven't heard 1,000 sermons on eagles, but from one wave to another wave, to another wave. And listen to the sound. They go.